what's in store for the greater Reading economy next year, 5 years, 10 years from now? Where should the economy be? I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me this hour is Jon Scott. He's President and CEO of the Berks Economic Partnership. Thanks for being with us, Jon. Good to see you.
Nice to see you again, Jill. Thank you.
Talk to us about this collaborative effort to develop a strategy for the economy regionally and how you've worked with other organizations in order to develop a plan.
Well, there were 8 individuals representing 8 different economic development-driven groups, including tourism and workforce development. And we worked together for over 3/4 of a year with an outside facilitator, Eric Pages, who's originally from this area. And rather than try to reinvent a wheel for economic development and strategy, we looked at reports that had already been done in this region, the LEAK Go Forth study from 2001, the Initiative for a Competitive Greater Reading, and we looked to build upon the strengths that were embedded within those programs to fill in some of the gaps of what was missing and to come up with a series of different action areas that we could focus on, especially over the next 3 to 5 years.
In looking through this plan, it seems like you want to accelerate what's working while still focusing on what the potential is for this region.
Absolutely correct. One of the conspicuous things that was missing from all of the previous studies was a focus on workforce, talent development, entrepreneurship, innovation, and that is something that is now embedded into this report. Thanks to the Initiative for a Competitive Greater Reading, we did know that we needed to focus on different business clusters, but since that study came out over 5 years ago, the world around us has changed. The collapse of Wall Street alone has had an impact on business and financial services. So we now have alternative and renewable energy as a brand new opportunity, and health sciences that are tied to biotechnology, but we still have a big focus on advanced and diversified manufacturing, and then quality of place remains increasingly important, and that's why we're spending so much energy and focus still on working with the Penn Corridor.
So let's focus on some of the specifics. Entrepreneurship and innovation, you mentioned workforce and talent development, revisiting these business clusters, sites and infrastructure is another component.
Very important.
So talk to us about 2 different projects. One is Bethel Park and the other is the non-airport components or non-aviation components of the Reading Airport.
You know, the County of Berks and especially the Industrial Development Authority has purchased land and is trying to get that ready for commercial and industrial development, something that we have a great need to do here in this region. Those are probably the biggest opportunities for short-term growth in terms of that type of development. But this group is also trying to find another area where we could grow up to 300 acres, as well as 2 smaller sites in that 25 to 50 acre range, and have more land and property available for industrial development.
So we're talking about a manufacturing component, an industrial component, but what about tourism? Is that still going to play a role?
Increasingly important as we move ahead, and that's why the tie to quality of place is so important. As you know, we recently had Elton John back to Reading for a sold-out crowd. There was a great ribbon cutting for the Wyomissing Square Apartments, 100 Park, that are over 50% occupied now, and there are just so many great things to do and enjoy here.
Very few seconds left, but will this plan start to be implemented?
We are already in implementation stages at various components, and again, I think as we follow and track through these programs and plans, that over the next 3 years we'll see a lot of progress.
Now, when we talk about that progress, are there benchmarks in place, milestones that you've set in order to know that we're on this path?
Each of the 8 organizations is going to be reporting out on a quarterly basis, and our Chamber of Commerce is going to be kind enough to distribute that to us, which we in turn will share with our respective boards of directors. So we'll be tracking and monitoring the progress, which is always important in any business plan.
All right, thanks so much, Jon.
Thank you very much.
We've been talking with Jon Scott, President and CEO of the Berks Economic Partnership. I'm Jill Horner for Comcast Newsmakers.